And he was obviously one of the last few people left that was still documenting these horrors.
If you guys do not know who journalist of Al Jazeera, Anas Al-Sharif is, there is, we have, Colin, do you have the image? Can we put it up for a second? Please grab it. I just want people to know who this man is, what he looks like, despite the fact that—
And it was 5 people. It was him and then 4 people with him.
I just want the Zaya Nazis out there who are trying to paint this man as a Hamas agent. That's him.
Why would a Hamas agent be walking around in a press vest and a press hat when those are essentially targets?
Yeah. Well, again, this is like the same argument about, is this really a war? No, it's not. It is a mass genocide. This is not a standing army. There's a reason why the Zios are the biggest fucking pussies on the planet, because the second they tried to saber rattle Iran, we saw what happened. We know that they wouldn't even think to tangle with Turkey. There is a reason that they're going after these people, because they're not— they're civilians.
He's been one of the most consistent voices that people have been following. And I guess, you know, they finally realized we're down to only a few. We know who this guy is. And in a very targeted attack, they killed him, which then, of course, goes to show you that they can do targeted attacks when they think somebody's Hamas.
Well, we've got 2 clips to play you, and we'll explain why. But the first one is going to come from our good friend. So Medea had this to say about the assassination of Anas Al-Sharif.
Israelis have once again killed a heroic journalist in Gaza. This weekend, an Israeli missile struck a journalist tent outside the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City, killing Al Jazeera Arabic correspondent Anas Al-Sharif and 4 of his colleagues. Anas was just 28 years old. He had become one of the most recognized voices reporting from northern Gaza. For months, he covered the war under relentless Israeli bombardment, risking his life to show the world what was happening. He stayed even after his 90-year-old father was killed in an Israeli airstrike on their home in December 2023. He was also a husband and a father of 2 young children. In his final posts, he spoke about the fear that he would never see them grow up. Unfortunately, a fear that just came true. And this is not new. Since October 2023, more than 200 journalists have been killed in Gaza, making this the deadliest war for the press in modern history.
You know, evidently, there has been more journalists killed in this genocide. Please stop calling it a war. In this genocide, more journalists have been killed than every other major war since the start of the 20th century.
I'm so angry. Like, I'm just so angry. I can't even.
Over 200.
And well, and in particular, this Al Jazeera journalist in particular that was targeted, just that they even say with a straight face that they believed he was Hamas. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. What indication was there of that? There is none. You thought that. Yeah, that's what they thought.
That is what they want. That is the plan. The goal of the Zionist movement is to create as much anti-Semitism as possible, because that makes them more money and gives them more power.
Well, and it keeps validating their position that Jews aren't safe, that Jews aren't safe. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Mm-hmm. And I know that. And I'm starting to hate us.
Well, Medea, who is Jewish as well, I am sure, understands that sentiment completely.
Groups including the Committee to Protect Journalists, Reporters Without Borders, the International Federation of Journalists, they're all demanding an independent, transparent, and credible investigation into Anas's killing. But when has Israel ever allowed that? Never. Israel has been violating the rights of journalists every day for the last almost 2 years. These groups are also urging the Israeli government to allow foreign reporters into Gaza. While Israel has been able to get away with killing Palestinian journalists with no consequences, it would be much harder to kill journalists with outlets like CNN and CBS.
It's not like any of them are clamoring to get over there.
Well, that, and they have killed other people. Are you kidding me? They've killed, what was her name? Nareem, the American, the dual citizen, the journalist that was like, that was a few years back. Shireen, maybe. They've always aimed at journalists. Journalists have targets on them, which is why they are so special. These guys, these are real revolutionaries. These are people that are willing to put their life on the line. He knew that it was a good chance he wasn't getting out of there alive.
Especially after they killed his father.
Shireen, yeah.
Yeah. Unreal. Finish it up.
Anas Al-Sharif was more than a statistic. He was a father, a husband, a son, and a relentless witness to genocide. His voice has been silenced, but the responsibility to seek truth and to demand justice for him and every journalist killed is now ours. Anas Al-Sharif, presente.
It's
sometimes there are no words. Sometimes there are no words. Sometimes
I'm just so angry.
Let it sink in. But with that said, it is imperative that we make very clear that the Zion Nazi Brigade, who is trying to paint this journalist as some type of a Hamas agent or supporter, sympathizer, or that this was just an accident, leave it to another friend of the show to explain that this was no accident. This was a targeted assassination. Here's Greg Stoker.
How many of you know that a group of journalists was just intentionally targeted with a kinetic strike by the Israeli military in the Al Jazeera journalist tent in Gaza City, because they do their targeting operations based off cell phone signals. So somewhere, someone in the targeting cell was like, all these journalists are here, drop it. And it's hard to do a battle damage assessment based off of this video, but it's clearly, there's no crater, it was not a bomb. It was most likely a precision munition like a Hellfire missile shot from a Q-9 Reaper drone. As you can see, there's no blasted terrain. Okay, so basically, I've been tracking this for a long time. When they go to kill journalists or aid workers, they use precision munitions like this.
That's my point. They can choose precision munitions. They don't have to level entire hospitals and schools like they say they do, but yet somehow they can do precision here.
Well, not only that, but anyone who is going to try to suggest that this was an accident or that it was just a random shooting, no, they 1,000% targeted him. And they have probably wanted to kill him since the beginning of this.
Yes. Look, they've done everything else they can. They kicked Al Jazeera out of there. You know, I mean, they don't have anything there. So, yeah, the fact that he was still reporting for Al Jazeera, I'm sure really pissed them off.
Oh, absolutely. Which is why they have to come up with a backstory now about, oh, it's a shame that he died. But he was really a bad guy, so don't feel bad.
Good luck with that. No one's buying it.
No. They're running out of real estate, which is why I said that the walls are closing in, and it should not be lost on anybody that one of the, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it is about the United States and only the United States, but the idea that Australia, which has always been sympathetic to Israel, came out and said, we are recognizing a Palestinian state at the UN next month. That's a significant turn of events. Because
it also shows that Australia listens to its people better than our country listens to us, at least in theory. Did you see what happened in Sydney? Did you see the march of people across the Sydney Bridge a few days ago? It was the biggest march. It was a march for Palestine. They took over the entire Sydney Bridge. It was 100,000 people. And Australians are just, they're not having it.
No.
They shut the entire bridge down.
Colin, if you have a clip or something short from
I
that.
just know, no, I mean, and I know it was like within the past week that there was this huge thing. Now, this was probably in the pipeline prior to that happening, because I don't think things like this happen that quickly necessarily.
I don't think Sky News is the only representative news in Australia, but they are they're an extremely antagonistic conservative news network, like extremely. And so
Finish playing this clip though of Greg. And then if we see the clip from Australia, I'll show you. But
because they want to be able to see the bodies, see on thermal imaging the heat go away out of the bodies so they can confirm that they're dead. You can't do that if you're trying to kill a high value target with a bomb, because it just destroys everything. There's a drone somewhere circling above, making sure all of these guys are dead. This strike was not about leveling Gaza. This one was to kill the prominent journalists reporting the genocide.